So everybody's doing a little bit right.
That's a good way to start. Start positive.
It's and sometimes it's a lot of bit right. WWE, Becky comes out. She looks like David Bowie, like superhero, futuristic, alien. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
She's a superstar, a bona fide superstar, and she's a mama.
This is a special presentation for the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast. Here's Rick Ucchino on the Bleav Podcast Network.
What is going on, you guys? Rick Ucchino here on the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast and YouTube channels. Thank you so much for tuning in today for my interview with Maria Kanellis-Bennett. You know her, you love her, you've seen her on WWE, Impact, Ring of Honor, New Japan. She's been in movies, she's everywhere, and now she's a wrestling promoter. We're going to get into all of that as she and Bobby Cruz are launching Women's Wrestling Army, and we're going to dive so much more into the landscape of women's professional wrestling as a whole. But first things first, guys, if you're tuning in right now, either Friday when this drops or Saturday, those are your last 2 days to get in on this action. An exclusive offer throughout the month of April to manscaped.com. You can save 20% plus get free shipping. Save some cash on a number of great products like their Lawnmower Pro 4.0. I'm telling you guys, this thing is an absolute game changer. High quality stuff. I have never personally had an issue with this bad boy whatsoever. I love it. My wife appreciates it too. Father's Day is just around the corner, guys. All right. If you women, wives, significant others, for your husband, gifts, father's gifts, think ahead, plan ahead, get it done. Save 20%, free shipping on everything on manscaped.com through the end of April. That's today if you're watching this on Friday or Saturday. That's it. It's all the time you have left. Make sure to use our promo code BLEAVPW to get started. That is BLEAVPW. Boom. 20% off, free shipping. You're done. It is all you need. And now, without any further ado, I'm not going to take up any more time here because I know you're here to watch Maria Kanellis-Bennett. So let's dive right into it as she gets ready to launch this major new promotion, all women's wrestling promotion this weekend. Here's my conversation with Maria Kanellis-Bennett. Thank you very much for joining us. Maria, obviously this is a very exciting, very busy time for you. You know, you got a lot going on, professional wrestler, actress, model, manager, you do it all. Now we can add promoter to this list, all right? Because you are now launching a Women's Wrestling Army. For those who, have not heard the news, don't know much about it, want to know more, let's just start off with a very simple question. What is Women's Wrestling Army, and how did this all come about?
Women's Wrestling Army is a brand new all-women's wrestling show. It is going to be this very nice mix of documentary-style footage plus amazing matches within the confines of a ring. And there'll also be backstage interviews. And it's going to be, in a lot of ways, a regular wrestling show, other than the documentary footage.
Sure.
And it came about because several women, after we found out the news that Ring of Honor was no longer going to be with Sinclair Broadcasting, several women had asked Bobby and I to start something. And I was very hesitant. I've owned a event management company now for about 4 years. And I don't love it. It's not, owning a business is not my favorite thing. I thought I would love it, but I don't. And so owning a wrestling promotion was not like, it wasn't something I was dying to do. I wasn't like, yeah, like I liked my situation that I had last year. Ring of Honor went, they set up everything. They, had all the pretty lights and the ramp and all of the stuff. And I brought the division. Bobby Cruz and I created the team. That was perfect.
Sure.
So it's very, I'm very hesitant on the whole thing because it isn't necessarily where I envisioned myself, but I do have to say the response has been tremendous.
Yeah, so I mean, that has to kind of make you feel a lot of different emotions when you have so many people. One, you got rave reviews for your work at Ring of Honor, and then unfortunately, the rug gets pulled out from under you. But then you have so many of these people who are coming to you saying, why don't you just do your own thing? I mean, for them to have that kind of confidence in you, I mean, that had to instill the confidence in yourself to say, you know what, screw it, I can do this.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like we felt like we had to. Bobby and I came to Bobby with the idea of how we could do it to where um it wasn't just us, but it was profit sharing amongst the talent, that it was be streaming in a different kind of way. And I tried it out with Brand Army for a couple of weeks before really pitching it to Brand Army, to anyone else. And so we got rolling on it, but it is a lot of mixed emotions. I am going to plug in my computer though, or else I'm going to lose you completely. My phone or my computer is going dead. Far too many interviews.
Oh, it's great. I love it.
This is real life, people. Real
I
life.
love it. Love it. It's great.
The drama here. Will
This
it die? Will it not? I don't
this
know.
This is pulling the curtain back. That's all it is. Just
Yeah,
pulling the
no,
curtain
I
back.
mean, it's luckily there's not going to be any screaming kids running through here because my husband is a superhero. He's got the kids out today. He's took Carver to get his hair cut, took him for ice cream. I was like, I have the house to myself. This is amazing. So
And this is what you're spending your day doing, talking to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mix of that, and then we're of course my step and repeat is like super delayed. That's supposed to be there for the interview set. I'm like, I ordered this sucker a couple weeks ago. It was supposed to be there 2 days ago. I'm telling Bobby like, oh, this is what's happening. My makeup artist canceled on me last week. So I'm dealing with those kind of little fires that are kind of flaring up right now, but it is what it is. The show must go on.
So yeah, where do you get the energy to do all this stuff? Like in all seriousness, because
I sleep. So a lot of people they stay up late and work. I don't. When the kids go to bed, within a half hour. Sometimes I'll go downstairs, sneak an ice cream or something, but within a half hour of kids' bedtime, I'm in bed. I wake up early. I wake up probably about 5 o'clock in the morning every day and I work. But when it's time to go to bed, it's time to go to bed. I feel blessed because I don't have the type of job that my mom did where every day she was getting up and she had to be there for 8 hours. Mine it's intermittent. It's like sometimes I'm like crazy busy and I'm like texting people while I'm like writing up an email or whatever.
Sure.
And other days it's, freedom to roam. But yeah, I feel very blessed in that I do get to sleep. My mom never slept. She had way too many 5-hour energy drinks.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like I basically have an IV full of coffee hooked up to my arm every day because I do get up at 5. I have a 9 to 5, which is actually a 6 to 2. And then I'm doing all this on the side. Plus, I have 2 young kids of my own, so it's constantly go go go. I don't sleep. All right, and one of these days it's gonna catch up to me. So
yeah,
again,
well, see, that was my younger years. So when the first 4.5, 5 years I was in WWE, I never slept. Like sleep was non-existent. I was John Cena and myself. We did all the things. Like we were at interviews, signings, like TV shows. Like we were insane back then. Plus, you had about 300 shows a year, and I was on everything. So I didn't sleep then. So now I have to make up for it, or else no one will want to see me on TV because I'm just like melting. So yeah, no, I have to sleep now. But those first few years in WWE, forget it. It was insane.
Well, you definitely do make the most of the hours that you are awake now. And again, you're launching this new promotion and you're doing it, with your partner Bobby Cruz. Kind of like pull the curtain back there. What do you like so much about working with him, and why do you guys work so well together?
So I am rapid fire. I don't know if like Tesla and like what his kind of the way that he went about things and like would have these grand ideas and like eventually it made him insane. Hopefully I won't be going insane, but he had these visions of what should happen. That's
Sure.
me. I'm like I think I'm thinking like 20 steps ahead of where I would like this to go. Bobby is more of the realist of like, no, you cannot do that. No, we cannot have 100 people on the show. And if it wasn't for him, like I feel like I would go out of control. But Bobby's also brilliant. So he came up with the idea of bringing in Deanna. He came up with the idea of Chelsea. He was a huge supporter of Roxy, now Roxanne over on NXT. I was a supporter of her too, but he definitely had the vision with Roxanne. So yeah, I mean, we feed off each other. We're constantly shooting each other text messages. I think I'm annoying him today, but that's okay. But that's how it goes. I couldn't do it without him.
And you guys are working quickly here because your first show is actually this weekend, and you have some very familiar. I'm sorry.
I said, I got more time. I got time.
But you got some very familiar names who are already booked for this card. Willow Nightingale, Taya Valkyrie, very big fans of both of them. But this, you talk about being a visionary, right? This has got to be just the tip of the iceberg because you have some major crossover plans for this promotion. At least that's what your press release has led me to believe.
Yeah, I mean, we have individuals from Impact Wrestling, AEW, and former talent for NXT. So we have a lot of big names on the show thus far. I want to dive into it further. For me, my big vision is a tournament of champions, and to make it so you have to have a title in order to enter. Your title will be your ticket to enter this competition, this tournament of champions.
Love it.
So, is it going to be hard? Of course it is. But I want to give the proper respect to all of the companies and all of the talent. I've worked for most of them. So like for me, it's it's definitely a respect shown there, but it's also a respect towards the women that have worked so hard.
Now, I'm assuming you're going to try to get as many companies involved. Some of those are going to be a little bit more harder than others, not without stating the obvious, right?
Yeah. I mean, so I think it's difficult until it's not. Nobody thought that Mickey was going to be able to be a Impact Knockouts champion on WWE, but she was.
Yes.
So she crossed that line. She opened that door. Who knows what can happen?
And you talk about all these big names and the grandeur of tournament of champions and things like that, but this is also got to be a great place to be able to showcase some of the younger or lesser known talent out there as well. Kind of run me through that kind of recruiting process.
So we used a lot of names that we had in Ring of Honor, just because we had worked with them before. They were the driving force behind opening a new promotion. So we definitely wanted to use as many of the Ring of Honor names as possible. And then we have some newcomers, some people that we've never worked with before, some crossover from WWR Plus, which will be the show earlier in the day at FET. So there is a bit of that talent sharing going on as well. Then we have some big names that I haven't announced yet that I've never worked with before, but I have known for a long time and I respect their work. And so, there's all of these different pieces to the puzzle. And I'll keep saying it. We're creating a team. We're not collecting talent. People can be incredibly talented, but if they can't have awesome matches with everyone on the team, then what are we doing? At the end of the day, the thing that makes everybody money is the show. We're profit sharing. So if every single match on the card is killer if everybody is bringing in their exclusive content members, their fans, their everything, then everyone will be profitable together. And that's the goal. Will we get there the first month? I don't think so. Will we get there in 6 months? Maybe. And that's what we want. So first, initially, we're recording this Sunday. Then we're producing the television shows. And those shows are what's going to end up being exclusive content on Brand Army. And that'll be at womenswrestlingarmy.com. The shows will come out. We have another streaming deal that hasn't been announced yet. But we wanted to get through this weekend before we start announcing everything because things are going to get lost. They're going to get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
The big thing is Taya Valkyrie and Tasha Steele and Trish Adora and Willow and the Hexes defending their titles. Like, these things are the biggest thing. These are the most important things. Get people in the door. And then from there, we'll start layering this sucker. And hopefully it'll be an army to be able to follow.
Right. And I think that's the same with anything, like we launched this channel, my buddy of mine, of this in January. It's like you have these grand, plans of everything where you want it to go. And it's like, but it's like baby steps. All right. You got to be patient. And I'm not a patient person whatsoever.
No, I'm not either. I'm like, why isn't this happening? Why can't it be done with this entire year so I can take this product and say, okay, here, this is why you should fund this thing or sponsor this or give us this sponsorship, makeup, hair, whatever it is, like clothing. Why can't we be donating money yet to charity? And it's like, wait a minute, we're a startup. Like, we have a budget. This is when Bobby's like, whoa, chill. And I'm like, okay, all right. So yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. So obviously this first show is in Providence, Rhode Island. For those people, our audience in Providence, if they want to go to the show, where can they get tickets? Kind of give out all of that information.
ShopIWTV.com. Or go to womenswrestlingarmy.com and click on the tickets button, and it'll take you right to the tickets page. You get 2 shows for one price. So it's awesome. It's women's wrestling all day long. I will say this over and over again. You want to see more women's wrestling on TV? Make sure you go to the shows. Prove that you really want to see women's wrestling. Go, cheer, have fun, have drinks, party. Make sure you have a designated driver, but have a good time. So, you have to go to the shows. You have to support the women that are in this industry. And you have 2 shows to do so on Sunday. Have a good time.
Yeah, and look, it's one thing to say something, right? It's a lot to say, oh, I support this, I want this, but then at the same time, it's like you got to follow through with the actions. And I think, yourself and Mickie James, you guys are now out there trying to improve things for the next generation and kind of change things up, change the system, improve it for the next people who are coming through the pipeline, and what is there a moment that you can kind of like pinpoint in your career where you realized, all right, hey, maybe I can kind of make a difference here and kind of keep striving forward?
Okay. Won't name names. But I was in the ring with some incredibly talented women, and it was a big match. And I think it was 5-on-5. I think it was going to be on SmackDown. But what I remember about it is that one woman didn't really want to speak up for herself. She was afraid of ruffling feathers. I could care less if I was getting in that ring or not. Getting in the ring was not my forte. It was a means to an ends. Love to wrestle, just not very good at it. But there was an incredibly talented woman that they kept saying she wasn't going to get any time in the ring. And it just didn't sit with me at all. I don't know if you've ever been so angry that your body starts to get on fire. Like, you are just like in your soul, someone cut you off on the highway. You almost I had that feeling for this girl. Now, it wasn't for myself. It was for this girl that was very talented. She had a history in the business. She came from the indies. Like, she knew what the hell she was doing. She belonged in that ring. But this other girl kept trying to say no. and I lit myself on fire. Then I went to the back. I told the powers that be, and they followed me back out to the ring. And that was the first time that, like, I wanted to help, you know? I wanted to be that person in between, that negotiator that like helped get things settled so everyone could shine. And that was probably like the first time, like talent relations wise, that I wanted to help. But there had been many other times in the past that I had went into Vince's office and asked for more opportunities, asked for more time. I went to talent relations. I asked for more time, more opportunities. I was one of the first people on like Fox News. I was on CNN. I did all of these things, and so I was always striving for those kind of opportunities. But the day I lit myself on fire was the day that I was like, yeah, I think I really want to help other women.
And that's the only way that change was ever going to really come about. I mean, people, squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? And the more people who are making the noise,
Yeah.
the
And there was
more
a lot of us. The Divas, people act like the Divas weren't fighting from within. Yes, we were. I mean, you look at the landscape of today. The Bella Twins, Divas. Michelle McCool, Divas. Maurice was a diva. Mickey James was a diva. Barbie Blank, diva. She was Kelly. Look at Tori, diva. Trish, diva. Lita, diva. How many of us are still having an influence on this industry? I mean, come on. If Melina comes out, do you recognize her on Monday Night Raw right now? Yes, you do. Diva. Jillian, diva. Like Brooke, diva. I could go on and on. We are all still kicking it in this industry. Sometimes we are only here and there appearances. Gail Kim, diva. Like, there are so many of us that have devoted our lives to this industry. We were all divas. It was a title that was placed on us, but it wasn't necessarily like, oh, diva. It was like, no, I'm a diva and I'm going to change some shit.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it.
It. It's okay. I'm sorry.
No, heck
no. I feel freedom in my house.
Oh, hell no. No, it's fine. It's fine. I actually like these kind of interviews, better where, you can just be kind of loose and let the F-bombs fly if you feel like you have the need to, or the S-bombs, whatever it is. So that is totally fine.
It happens.
It absolutely happens. I work in radio full time, but I swear like a sailor. So, if I can get in a space where I can let it fly, the
other day I said an F word in the car. I was firing up about this weekend, and an F word just flew out of my mouth, and I went, oh God, the kids, they're in the back. We're driving them to daycare. Not responsible. But it happens. My grandfather cussed like a sailor, but my mom never cusses. The only thing she'll say, she'll call people buttheads sometimes. I'm like, Mom, that's not really an insult. Like, it's not an insult.
Yeah,
morons.
My wife likes to try to censor me, especially around the kids. So the other day when I accidentally dropped a GD and then my 3-year-old repeated me, I was very happy. I was very happy she wasn't in the living room at the time. My wife, I mean. So, I was just like,
well, my daughter said the F word the other day when we were at the grocery store. And I was like, oh God, no. I was like, but she's the kindest, sweetest, most lovely thing. Like, her brother falls down and she goes over and helps him up. And she helps. She's a teacher's helper at school. So it's like, maybe they're just words, maybe it's okay.
That's my philosophy 100%. It's all about the inflection that you put behind them.
Yes.
But, kind of going back to what we were talking about before we got on the F-bomb tangent there, you look at the evolution of the industry now, and women's wrestling has been making a lot of headlines this week. People arguing back and forth over which promotion's better and this, that, and the other thing, because Becky Lynch loves to stoke some flames, and she's very, very good at it. But I will say there is always room for improvement across the board, even as far as timing and moments and money and everything has come with the women's wrestling. It has come a long way, but there's still improvements to be made across the board. When you sit back and you watch these companies, whether it's WWE, Impact, AEW, what have you, what are things that you kind of point to and say, man, I wish I would do that differently, or man, I'd like to see some of these things still change?
So everybody's doing a little bit right.
That's a good way to start. Start
You
positive.
know, it's and sometimes it's a lot of bit right. WWE, Becky comes out. She looks like David Bowie, like superhero, futuristic, alien. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
She's a superstar, a bona fide superstar. And she's a mama. She looks fantastic. She's killing it. She's an incredible wrestler. Yeah, so that is right. Bianca, that's right. Sasha Banks, awesome. Like, and then you've got AEW and that incredible match with Thunder and with Britt, and blood flying and just intensity and just main eventing. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
Good shit.
And then you've got Impact, who does this great, like, now you're on top. Now you're on top. Now we're building. Now we're building. Now there's a Tasha, and where there was a Mickey, and now there's this person coming in, and now Taya's back, and we're building Masha the whole time, and like, but we're using our veterans to help the newcomers. So let's just all throw them all together and say, woohoo! Because, like, everybody's always going to do a little bit right. Everybody's always going to have something to complain about. That's just how it goes. But I do think everyone's making an effort. I do think that I've seen some of the very best wrestling on AEW. I think they have some tremendous stars on AEW of, Ruby and Tony and Britt and Thunder. I think they're all phenomenally talented, and the newcomers. And then you also have Allie, who is a veteran in her own right. Yeah. And so it's like they have a great group of women. But you also have to remember that company is still a startup. It's only a couple years in. Like, it's going to get there. Like, and they're doing great things. First, you get interest. Then you gain loyalty. That's just how businesses run. There's good stuff going on everywhere. I'm excited to see what happens in the coming months. I'm learning from everyone right now, whether it be from what's going on at WWE to what's going on at AEW or Impact. I'm hoping to work with everybody. And I think everybody is doing their very best.
I think it was just a week ago you said that Tony Khan had reached out to you about, possibly coming in. It's been about 7 days. I don't know if you've had time to talk with him yet or not, but Bobby's there working with him. You've obviously talked to people. He just recently purchased Ring of Honor, a place that was very, very special to you. Do you feel like from everything that you've heard and seen that Ring of Honor is in really, really good hands with Tony Khan?
I do. I think that somebody that absolutely loves wrestling owns a wrestling company that has always produced the best wrestlers on the planet. And that's necessary. It has to be someone that loves wrestling in order to make sure to take care of it. And I'm excited to see what the future holds. Yes, I've been communicating with Tony. I'm happy to just be in the conversation right now. I'm happy to just be discussing it. I know that they're still working on their distribution deal. So until that happens, there's no real reason to bring me in, because what am I going to do? I have nowhere to put any talent. That's just it's not going to do anything. So, we've been in communication, and I think he's going to take very good care of it. So if things line up, great. If they don't, I hope for the best for all of my friends that need jobs out there that were released from Ring of Honor. So, I'm excited for whatever Ring of Honor becomes. I think it's going to be really awesome.
And I think he's done a good job of kind of keeping him in the forefront, for the time being. You look at, putting championships on Samoa Joe and Wheeler Yuta, obviously. But now this big matchup we got coming up on Wednesday, the Ring of Honor Women's Unification match between Deonna and Mercedes Martinez. Who are you pulling for in that one?
Oh, come on now. I work with these people. Are you kidding me?
I had to try.
They're both tremendous stories. I think that either one of them will be a fantastic champion. I wish I could be there. I want to feel the way that it feels during that match. I want to be a fan. I want to every time someone goes for a pin, I want to feel that that vibe. I want to be in the building. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting to see who ends up becoming champion.
One other person I wanted to ask you about before we close out here, and you brought her up earlier, somebody who's already making waves in WWE, somebody that you have worked with. Many have called a prodigy, known as Roxy at the time, but is now Roxanne Perez. Already second week on television, she's main eventing NXT with Mandy Rose and putting on great matches. For that WWE audience who may not know her backstory, who may not know a whole lot about her, what does WWE have in Roxanne Perez?
The next okay, I hesitate to say this because I don't like anybody comparing anybody to anyone else, but the ability that you have in Becky Lynch, you have in Roxanne. And I think that is only going to continue to grow. Of course, she's still got, things she has to work on. But I think at some point Roxanne will be on the same level as Becky. And she has the technique down. She has the story. She has the heart. She used to ride the bus to go to wrestling training before she could drive a car or anything like that. She rode a bus so she could go to training. She was trained by Booker T. Like, she has the ability to work with anybody. I mean, everyone that she worked with in Ring of Honor, from working with Miranda Alizé, who's a luchador, to working with someone like Sumi or Angelina Love. I mean, she went down the list of veterans and she held up with all of them. But then she also went against all these different styles of wrestlers, and she was able to compete and defeat all of them. I mean, she was in there with Willow as her very last match in Ring of Honor. So, I mean, she really is a prodigy. And yeah, her future is very shiny and bright. I just talked to her a couple days ago, actually. But I also, I know how that is in the first few years. You have to start creating your own identity and get out there into the world and see what this feels like. And yeah, I will always be there to support her, but I also am very happy to just watch her grow.
All right. I'm looking forward to a lot more out of her. I'm looking forward to watching Women's Wrestling Army. I have been a long-time fan and advocate of women's professional wrestling, and I am excited for this. And it has been an absolute pleasure to finally get to meet you, albeit, virtually, and get to chat with you here a little bit. I hope to do it again sometime.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You have a fantastic day.
You do the same. Thank you so much, Maria.
Thank you.